Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be playing the best tanks at tier 6, and to make sure that it's not just playing a constant amount of premium vehicles, I'm only going to play the tanks that you could all get by playing inside the tech tree. So I'm using the awesome Tomato GG website, and how do I decide what are the best tanks? Well, why don't we take a look to see which ones have the best win ratio in the last 30 days on the European server. And lo and behold, the first one is British. It's the AT8. This is a tier 6 British tank destroyer that has brutal armor. And with equipment 2.0, why am I clicking tier 7? I'm already messing up at the start of this video. Equipment 2.0 means that you can actually get really quick on this tank. It has a little fearsome gun, nice little 17-pounder, which is the same gun that's on the Black Prince. And while it's definitely not great on the Black Prince, it's pretty darn good on this tier 6. Pretty much nothing can go through the front of this tank reliably unless they hit the weak point on top. And quite often, equal and lower tier tanks are going to have to fire gold at it to even be able to contest that position on the tank. And so there's no surprise why the AT8 is so dominant. As I've said a few times on the channel, if you've watched my heavier tank destroyer kind of videos, tank destroyers that can play like heavy tanks are usually far more influential than tank destroyers that can't play like heavy tanks. But oh dear goodness, on this map and matchup, this is an utter nightmare scenario. Maybe I have a second set of equipment. Oh my lord, I actually have a second set of equipment. Thank my lucky stars. So I'm actually going to drop the vents and I'm going to go for binoculars instead, because I think I should probably be able to see my opponents a little bit more. And on a map like this, it kind of makes perfect sense. Still, a pretty big nightmare scenario, at least in my opinion, for this map. And especially with 2 artillery on the enemy team, this is going to be an ugly one. So one of the reasons why the AT8 does so well is when it gets to be just like a bruiser that pushes into a city fight and then crushes even equal tier or higher tier heavy tanks when it gets there. However, in this scenario, it's going to be about the DPM of the vehicle, and DPM of this vehicle is not bad. And we saw that it was about 2000, 2080, I think it was, base DPM. When you get a gun rammer and vents on this tank, which obviously I'm not using because I've had to sacrifice the vents to be able to get binoculars on this vehicle, you can push that DPM high enough to be able to rip apart multiple tanks per minute. That's one of the scary things at tier 6 that a lot of people, should we say, fail at. And that is that they don't realize how good damage per minute is on quite a few tier 5 and tier 6 tanks, but how low the hit points are. Towards the top tier of World of Tanks, sure, the damage per minute start to scale up really highly, but also the hit points increase quite a lot. Around about tier 6 on a tank like this is a decent amount of hit points for a tier 6 tank destroyer. 900 is very good. It's one of the specialities of the British tank destroyers is that they're just more healthy than all of the other tank destroyers because they were designed to be these kind of assault TDs. So I don't really want to drive around these tanks, but I feel like I have to be able to get towards the bush line. I'm hoping that I'm going to overtake this IS, or I guess I'm just going to go in behind him. He's going to brake check me a little bit. Am I going to go in behind him again? Okay, I will. Okay, cool. T52. We start? No, we don't. All right, well, I guess I got to get in front of these tanks. I know the OI is going to be spotted. So what I might as well do is, frankly, just drive into this bush and just hope. This could be a really ugly game, by the way, boys and girls. There's a Jagdpanzer at the back. There's probably an E25 at the back. This could be horrendous. I'm not spotted. My sixth sense hasn't gone off. That is somebody trying to shoot at someone behind me. Either that, or I don't have sixth sense on this tank. Do I not have sixth sense on this tank? Maybe I don't, or did I not have sixth sense on this vehicle? I'm pretty sure I did. Or maybe I didn't put resupply on the sixth sense consumable. Otherwise, it'd be very weird that I actually got shot by that T-3485M there. Nevertheless, I'm in position. I've got my binocular set up, but it doesn't seem to be really doing anything. I've got a huge glut of vehicles behind me, but no real opportunity to be able to shove through. And if one of those tank destroyers lights me up, I'm really not sure if my armor is going to hold up that well against all of those gold rounds that were peppering my vehicle. Luckily, the T-52 is on the other side of the ridgeline, so I should be okay there. But I don't really feel like I could go and engage them because they're a light tank and they'll be able to dance around me. I'm just going to keep sitting here, keep setting up my binoculars, and hopefully somebody on the enemy team will make a mistake, and then we're going to be able to advance towards them. I feel like that's my best bet right now. I keep spotting this T-3485M, but it doesn't look like anyone on my team is able to shoot him. Really, you need to have tanks around about that location to be able to get a crossfire on him. Oh, whoa, there's the E25. Okay, I've got to shoot that. I've got to shoot that. No. Do I get spotted there? I don't actually get spotted. Either or I just don't have Sixth Sense. The trials and tribulations of having to play vehicles that you don't have incredibly good crews on. I'm pretty sure I have Sixth Sense there. Maybe everyone's just trying to jam everyone behind me or thinking that I'm sitting in this kind of a location anyway. Amazing how instantly all the rounds that hit my vehicle were gold from the E25 and the T3485M, but hell, after my play sessions over the last few days, in the T22 Medium and the M5Y, I don't think I can really complain. I have been firing a lot of gold, and even with well, not without credit boosters, I can only about break even with a premium account playing those kind of tanks. Absolutely outrageous. Those low alpha damage tanks, a lot like this one, with very tempting high explosive anti-tank ammunition, yeah, they definitely can bust the bank. Alright, so we've managed to get the T3485M down to half hit points. I've got to fire at that. Oh my lord, my tank turned. Maybe a bad decision to fire at that vehicle there, but it seems to have worked out for me anyway. I'm going to just go and get into this bush line. Just keep my binoculars going, and oh, there we go. That's what I want to see. I might actually end up falling back behind this bush and shooting through against this player, and I should be able to cut this poor lack up. I'm going to keep firing because why would we stop firing in this scenario? Doesn't look like the T3485M saw me, or maybe he did. The fact that he was pointing his gun directly at me kind of scares me in that scenario. I'm definitely spotted. There's no doubt that I don't have Sixth Sense after that. There's just, you don't have to be a detective. But luckily, I am playing a very heavily armored tank. And when you're playing a very heavily armored tank, oh, why did I open my big mouth? Oh dear. Well, playing a heavily armored tank, but artillery still shaves over 400 hit points away from me in a couple of shots. Well, I'm not very healthy anymore. Well, Godspeed, T52. I hope you managed to make your way down this flank. Well, unfortunately, this isn't a very good performance for the arguably the best tier 6 tank in the game, right? At least it's available in a tech tree. And the issue is that we've got an E25 and this T3485M that's just absolutely nailing us. But hopefully my artillery can hit some shells. Very nice. What? That's a Jagdpanzer firing high explosive rounds at the OI behind me. Goodness gracious, this is an absolute war zone. Well, it is World of Tanks when you think about it. If only that T3485M can get taken out, then we might actually be able to push down here. Are all of our light tanks dead? All of them apart from the Type 64. Wow, that Oni behind me is pretty scary, I'm not going to lie. Honestly, if my team can get rid of the T3485M, then I might just be able to make a hero push. I think I can bounce them most of the time, but I definitely can't bounce the RT. Oh, I really don't want you boys sitting behind me right now, friends. I've got Tweedledum and Tweedledee. Okay, there we go. That's the kill. We've got to get this guy. Come on, somebody kill him. Please, 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 RT. Please, RT. Get rid of him and then I can push. As soon as he's lost that high ground position, I should be able to go. I'm going to change to a gold round here because I really have to get rid of this T3485M. If I don't, this is going to be it. Yes! Okay, we're going. We're going. Well, we can tell where one of the artilleries are. I feel like I've been released from a prison. And because I don't have Sixth Sense, I don't have any anxiety now. You know, I just have to, like, push forwards and just hope. Sounds like a bad thing, right? Sometimes ignorance is bliss, and in this case, ignorance is bliss. Oh. You like to be sitting there, do you? Goodbye, E25. Campy, campy. All right, let's change to regular rounds. I don't think I need the gold rounds for anything now. And hopefully our team will just keep rolling forwards. So what have we seen about this tank and this? Why have I got a large repair kit on this tank? That's excessive. Why do I have a large repair kit on this vehicle? What? Oh my goodness, I must have been rich when I was setting this vehicle up after getting fleeced for nearly 20 million credits yesterday from the event. I definitely don't feel like I'm rich anymore, that's for sure. By the way, the caravan event, I'm not sure if I'm going to make the video before or after this video, but all you need to know is that if I'm making this video before the caravan event, I will be talking about the caravan event because it's possibly one of been the biggest tragedies, I think, in World of Tanks history, at least with regards to the recent release of content. But all of that will be featured in a different video. I don't want to talk about it today. Let's focus on the tanks that we're going to be playing. All right, so having dealt with this flank, the game is starting to look a lot safer, and that M44 is trying to run away from me. I'm going to just try and take a go at him. I remember actually getting shot by the Jagdpanzer 4 Oh my lord, there's also an IS. And there's a Stritzwang as well. Please bounce, please bounce, please bounce, please bounce, please bounce, please bounce, please bounce. That's the best way to play World of Tanks. Just please bounce, right? But honestly, when you're playing a vehicle like this, that's what it kind of comes down to. One more shot. That's why this tank is great. Literally just sat in front of a tier 6 medium and there's nothing he could do. Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. What's this shell? It's an APCR round, so it should have better shell velocity. Doesn't look like I've quite managed to catch him. And just like this. No wonder this thing is the best. No wonder this thing is the best tier 6. We managed to do 800 damage. Not bad for a tier 6 tank. 1,600 spotting. Thank goodness I changed out the vents for binoculars on a map like this. And, you know, blocking that 1,000 damage as well. Just absolutely awesome stuff. And that's why the 88 is just an absolute powerhouse. And if people are sucking in this, it's probably because they just don't have it set up correctly. Now, I understand that it was lucky for me that I have all of the field mods on this vehicle, so I do have 2 sets of equipment. And I understand that when you're playing it for the first time, maybe you won't have that kind of a luxury. Still, good start for the video today. We managed to finish 3rd on experience, 6th on damage, and this Type 64 definitely outspotted me there. But I'm still really happy with the impact. We managed to get rid of that cheeky E25 with a bit of a proxy spot. Okay, so that was the first tank. Nice start for the 88. What is the next best tier 6 tank with regards to win ratio over the last 30 days on the European server? Well, it's the T21. Wow, this is a tank that not a lot of people really end up talking about. The T21 is a tier 7. Sorry, not tier 7. It's tier 6. This is a tier 6 video. How many times are you going to get this wrong, QuickyBabs? It's a tier 6 American light tank that used to have tier 7 matchmaking, because all light tanks used to have matchmaking that was a higher tier. Okay, this time I definitely have 6th sense, which is great. I'm going to be going with a gun rammer, vents, and coated optics on this tank. And the reason why I'm going to be doing that is because this vehicle is rather darn good when it comes to managing to do damage. It's actually a really good damage dealing light tank. Its DPM may not be the best, but it's still pretty darn good for tier 6. It's got decent pen, decent alpha, kind of reminds me of the old Chaffee, enough view range to be able to spot my opponents. This is a solid tank, and one of the loveliest things is the gun handling. Now, I'm not sure if this tank can actually use vertical stabilizers. It may or may not be able to use vert stabs. Personally, I just feel like I'd almost rather have the vents on this tank, and you definitely need to have the coated optics, because the view range, while it's good, is not that good. Alright, so T21, where the hell am I going to take this tank? So I could take it into this position and try to spot across, but I honestly don't think that's going to be the game-winning play. I think the game-winning play is going to be to win the dip here. Win the dip. That's what we've got to do. We've got to try and encourage the team to win the dip with me. If we do win the dip here, I think we will be in a absolutely fabulous position. The only thing that concerns me is, will my opponents rush the dip as well? Because I am a light tank. I don't have the hit points of their scary mediums. I don't have the alpha damage of their scary mediums. I don't have the DPM of their scary mediums. And talk about scary mediums. Here they come. Whoa, this thing's traverse speed is outrageous, by the way. It turns so quickly. Almost too quickly. You know those kind of tanks that just turn a little bit too fast? They almost feel absolutely outrageously wild. So somebody's trying to blind fire me at the back. I managed to spot the VK out. Would I start to shoot him? Of course I will. That's why we're here, for some damage, right? So there's a T-3485M below me, but luckily 2 tanks have decided to attack the dip. So this is beautiful. So now I'm above. I'm proxy spotted the whole time, so I've got to watch out here. I really want to try and shoot this VK that I can't risk it. I'll just lose so many hit points right now because I'm proxy spotted by this T-3485M. What I need to do is to wait for the T-3485M to die. Now I need to wait probably about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't think I'm spotted anymore, so I can manage to poke up. Wow, shows you that that guy just shot me on the move as I went up. How brutal. How brutal. So I guess my timing was just maybe a second or 2 off there, or maybe my plays were predictable with going up. Ah, nice. The arty's over in the corner as well. What a shame. Okay, let's go after these guys. I'll have to mess them up, just like they're messing me up from a distance, right? Managing to put a couple of rounds in. Didn't quite hit that one. I probably should have. That was a lazy shell. That was not enough lead. And that was a lazy shell as well. What's the shell velocity? It's only 792. I thought that it would be at least like about 900 or 950 on this tank. This is the problem when you start to play your lower tiers, right? You play your lower tiers and you don't realize how awful the shell velocity is. What's my APCR shell velocity? 1,000. That's a much nicer amount. I'm going to see if I can finish off this player. He's probably going to try and do the same to me. Oh, that Rudy is so irritating. I'm actually down to a one-shot. This is incredibly awkward. Hopefully my team can manage to get rid of the VK. They do. Well, nice play by the Rudy. Dang, this thing is fragile, isn't it? Nice shot. Oh, no. Not like this. Oi, 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 oi. Well, an awful game for me, and I didn't even realize they were behind me. I was definitely off my game in this round, no doubt. My marksmanship was not correct. I was probably still sleepy from the Prokhorovka game. Oof, sir. I should have turned around, should have dealt with them. Is this what happens to a lot of the mid-tier players? Why am I losing 25% of my hit points to a single artillery shell? It's almost as if Wargaming pretty much only nerfed the high-tier artillery, and they didn't really care about the lower-tier artillery. Oh well, my fault. I sucked in the T-21, but it's definitely not a bad tank with regards to how it's been performing. Okay, well maybe I just need to play really big, heavily armored derpy tanks. And talk about big, heavily armored derpy tanks, why don't we have a go in the OI. So the OI is a tier 6 Japanese medium tank, and the reason why it's so incredible is because it pretty much has like 150 millimeters of frontal hull armor. Spoilers, quite a few tier 6 tanks don't have 150 millimeters of penetration. So when you play your big old Japanese tank, it can be an absolute behemoth. Now there's two competitive guns on this tank. You can either use the derp gun, or you can instead use the 105 millimeter gun. Now, I personally think that the 100mm gun is better, especially with the HE nerfs, but in the interest of maybe a little bit of L giggles, I think I'm going to try and use that big derpy gun, especially with the intuition changes, which will allow me to be able to switch shells to deliver whatever the right one is for the target. Now, OI versus KV2, both big caliber guns that like to one-shot their opponents. The OI actually has the better armor piercing rounds. It has more penetration on its AP, and it has really good high explosive anti-tank rounds with, I believe, 150 millimeters of penetration. And so this means that while the KV2 is still the king of high explosive, the OI is actually significantly better with standard rounds. Now, it's not as if the high explosive rounds are more or less expensive. They're pretty much the same kind of price as the armor piercing rounds. But it just kind of gives this tank a different flavor. Of course, both vehicles with their above 150mm caliber guns, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, I'll have to take a look in a second as to exactly what caliber gun this vehicle has, we'll be able to overmatch 50mm plates. Nearly said 150 there. That would be a bit of a game-breaking change. Yeah, this actually has 149, so that's really interesting, because this one cannot overmatch 50mm plates. But it has that 121 millimeters of penetration, so it's tricky. The OI is a bit of a weirdo with that regard. It's also hilarious because my high explosive rounds have better shell velocity than my AP or my high explosive anti-tank rounds. Okay, dude, why did I just drive out into the middle of the map while I was just daydreaming and trying to take a look at the ammunition there? Oof, bad start for me. I probably don't want to be over there right about now, do I? Maybe I'll get to club something as they come through. Wow, I can switch my shells in 4 seconds. Maybe, just maybe. Is this the dream? Is this the absolute dream? Oh, it was gonna hit him and the ISU hit him just in time. Oh, no, 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 not like this. That is the dream, boys and girls. Shooting an SU-130 PM with an OI or a KV2 is the ultimate in World of Tanks. It's like hitting a Borsig as well. Both of them have no armor whatsoever. Oof. Those HE rounds still hit hard, right? 398 to the side of the VK and also tracked him. Is he going to stay tracked? Wow. HE, it's obviously not dead at tier 6 at least. It's just all of the higher tier tanks that have really good armor that can kind of just brush away those HE shells. So yeah, shooting an SU-130 PM or managing to get a Scorpion. Oh, we actually managed to win that T21 game, even though I played really badly in that game. That was an awful performance. Hitting those kind of tanks in vehicles that are 2 tiers lower are just so wonderful. Alright, so what am I meant to do in this situation? Am I meant to try and actually derp shells at these kind of vehicles? Man, I can overmatch the side of that Caliban, even with my AP shells. It's got no armor. I'm going to try it. I believe. Is the Caliban exploding? No, he's not. He's only showing his turret. Okay, I need my HE again. I don't really want to feed this Caliban, but he'd have to be firing AP to be able to get me here. He's firing HE. Oh no. No, of course he's not firing HE, is he? Oh dear. Lost a big amount of hit points to the 252U. Alright. Well, what can I do? I guess I got lucky that I didn't get clapped by the Caliban. To be honest, that was a really stupid poke there. I don't even really know what I was trying to achieve there, and I should try and play a little bit more sensibly. Dang, this thing is slow. Even with a turbo on this tank, it does feel like an incredibly... The Porlac and AMX are saying that they're trying to flank us over there. How can they be so much lower on hit points than us, but they seem to have so much more of the map? I guess if we're pushing the east, I probably have to try and plow with this Pershing. And at least if I die, I can become a real big barrier so that the Pershing's butt can survive forever, right? I can preserve that American booty. Talk about preserve that American booty. This British tank's having a bit of a nightmare. I'm going to go... Oh, no. How many tier 8s are there in this game? Well, of course, there's like 3 of them, and I've seemed to have got shot by every single one of them so far. Well, nice shell by the T-34-3. This is not going very well for me, is it, so far? Oh, well, you win some and you lose some. Let's see if we can manage to come back before the Hummel shuts us down. What's that KB2 doing? I so want to shoot him. Do you think I can actually wedge my vehicle up there? Probably not. We're getting in a horrible crossfire right now. This is awful for us. Maybe. Oh my lord, I can actually do that? Wow. Maybe I just found one of the most trolled places in World of Tanks history. I don't think that T-34-3 expected me to do that. Okay. Okay. This game just got interesting. This game just got interesting, that's for sure. Can that Caliban see me? Guess we have our answer. Alright, well, disappointment for me here. My 1,000 hit points didn't really last long against the 122mm caliber guns that got fired at me that dealt 400 damage each. And unfortunately, the Caliban managed to confirm the shot. Well played, Caliban. Oh, darn. 2 awful games in a row for me. And one of them wasn't even bad matchup. Oh, well. Man, looks like even if I am playing the most powerful tanks at tier 6, doesn't look like I am a mid-tier player today. Luckily, I won the T21 game. I actually get a 3rd class, even though it was awful. That's always amazing to me when you get a 3rd class for a terrible performance, because that means you did better than 50% of people who have been able to achieve in the last couple of weeks. All right, I seem to be making my way down this list incredibly quickly today. So, ladies and gents, boys and girls, without further ado, I'm going to play the VK3601H. Wow. The VK3601H was the first ever tier 6 tank I got in the game. When I first got it, it was a medium. And I believe, unless I'm significantly mistaken, that this was the first tank that I ever got a Kolobanov's medal on. There it is. Absolutely beautiful. I didn't even know what it was. It wasn't really even that special. To be fair, I don't think I did anything ridiculously heroic. I think I probably just one-shot 5 very low health tanks that were probably just waltzing towards me at the end of the game. You know, one of those kind of Kolobanov's medals where it doesn't even really feel like a Kolobanov's medal. And those kind of happened a lot more back in the day when a lot of people had way worse computers in 2011. Connections were way worse. And I think a lot of people were just way worse at playing video games. Now it seems to be the whole industry has exploded on it. Everybody's now got idiots like me teaching them how to play, so unfortunately I'm arming all of the seals that I used to take advantage of back in the day. Oh well. Another awful matchup for this vehicle, but oh well, that's okay. Tier 6 heavies, what can we do anyway? Maybe we can still have some fun. So what are the highlights of this vehicle? Well, we've got gun depression and we've got a nice pokey gun. That is why this vehicle does so well, is because of this 75mm Cornish gun. 157 millimeters of standard pen. 221 millimeters of gold pen. This tank has penetration that would work a whole tier higher. And you could probably make it work at tier 8 as well, as long as you were liberally applying premium rounds. And that's just what's so special about this tank, is that you don't have to feel worried in any way at all about the matchup that you've got yourself into. Now, back in the day, I believe this vehicle was like way faster. Or maybe I'm just imagining things. I think it probably had a slightly less armor when it was classed as a medium. I don't even know about the changes off the top of my head. Honestly, these tier 6s, it's really hard to keep up with the development after 10 years. Okay, so I'm going to try and get onto this ridgeline. I'm going to try and harass all of these vehicles without hopefully dying. That guard just managed to get clapped. He's actually getting spotted and shot. I really like to be aggressive on this position, but I don't want to lose my hit points to the SU-130. I've lost too many hit points to SU-130s today. Looks like the boogie missed me. I'm going to put some shells into his turret here. Nice. And this player doesn't realize about my DPM and my pen. I am going to mess him up. This is where the Cornish is just so good. Better luck in your next one, old sport. God, that felt like old school World of Tanks playing this vehicle. Can you aim? Oh no, his guard buddy shot me. Wow, I've got so many hit points on this tank. Do I have more hit points on this than I do on my OI? Am I the same tier? I'm sorry, why has this one got 1,200 hit points? I swear my OI only had 1,000. And they're the same tier? I guess it's because Wargaming realized that a lot of people who first play the game, they want to go, Tiger, 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 Tiger. I want to go and play the Tiger. And I was just like that, boys and girls. That's why this was my first tier 6. I was trying to rush to get the Tiger as quickly as I possibly could. I was trying to zerg my way towards the Tiger to be able to play the vehicle that I knew about. I thought, World of Tanks, what tank do I know? I know about the Tiger. I want to get the Tiger. That was the one that was on all. It was the poster child of World of Tanks, and it still is a bit of a poster child tank for Tankfest, right? Of course. Although now Tankfest isn't even just about the Tiger. Well, it never was only about the Tiger, but definitely there was a time when it was a lot more featured. Now, obviously, the Tank Museum in the UK now has the awesome Tiger Day as well, because otherwise Tankfest just became far too popular, I guess. So why not have better access to the Tiger on a separate day? It makes perfect sense, right? So people who want to go see the Tiger can go get a more intimate experience there rather than just see it go around the arena a little bit. And my word, this vehicle, this is the first... I mean, obviously the OI would be probably very good in a nice matchup, but I can tell you, this feels absolutely devastating right now. This feels like a devastating tank, and I'm not even just YOLOing gold constantly to be able to achieve this kind of a result. This is the worst possible matchup for this vehicle, and we are going toe-to-toe with the enemy tanks at every corner. This tank is just an absolute performer, even to this day. Tier 7 medium tank. Well, he got lucky. He bounced. I don't really think that gold would have helped me too much there. I still think I would have probably ricocheted. I just realized this game is actually kind of close right now. I can't get complacent. I can't get nonchalant in this situation. I might just fire there, because he might try and poke out into that bush, and he was. He was. Nice. He was actually sitting in that bush trying to be a little bit sneaky. Not today, buddy. Not today. Alrighty then. So, let's try and reverse up here, because I've now lost so many of my hit points that I am a one-shot. And my team is actually kind of melting really badly. I can't believe I'm up to 2,000 damage in a tier 6 heavy and 1,200 assistance. And it's kind of feeling like I'm not doing too well now, at least with regards to my team. I also noticed that my ping is fluctuating. That's because I think Tanya's probably downloading Stardew Valley, because I've got a play session scheduled. A play session scheduled with my brother. My Tanya, my brother. Yeah, my Tanya, my brother. That's how you speak English, right? We're all going to play Stardew Valley together, so I'm looking forward to it. Not like it's the biggest download, but it's still enough to be able to troll my ping a little bit here. So it looks like we managed to get a couple of shots here on the IS-6. The T-25 pilot's asking for help. But honestly, I can't really afford to get spotted there at the moment. I think that the T-25 pilot can outspot the IS-6 himself, and so I'm not going to focus on that. Instead, I'm going to focus on trying to get a bit of a crossfire through the town here. I think that's going to be for the best, and maybe I can try and help out the S1 before he manages to get caught. So I'm going to set up my shop right here, get my binoculars activated in case the IS-6 decides to press me on that corner. And I'm going to try and get ready to see if I can nail vehicles going down this alleyway. This is a lovely position for a bit of a crossfire. You've got to be careful, though, because you are a little bit vulnerable from most avenues. Oh, that's what I need to hit. Will he spot me if I fire? He'll spot me if I move, apparently. Oh, disaster. I'm out. Why did this T-25 pilot not hunt him? He just let the IS-6 do whatever he wants. Oh, well, boys and girls, 3 kills and 3,700 combined here in a tier 6 tank in a tier 8 matchup. Doesn't look like it might be quite enough to win. Nevertheless, Spy Santorsky is going to carry me here with his full health T-25 pilot. He could do. I mean, he probably would have been able to carry a little bit more if he hadn't let all of his friends die. I lost the OI game on Ghost Town. Maybe my fault there that I caught so many shots from the tier 8. Maybe I should have played a little bit safer. Honestly, though, if this guy can get rid of the IS-6 and then try and get to this ridgeline to be able to deal with the medium tanks that are coming in, there's kind of a chance that we can do this. One of the worst things the Jagdpanther can do right now is to take the fight to the enemy team. He basically needs to just be a support tank for the pilot. But you know what? I obviously know nothing because the T-3485 is just going to drive right out in front of him, which is always nice. So there's a Type 64 on the enemy team who's clearly coming in from the south. That's where that low alpha damage is coming from. Hopefully the pilot's going to engage, and this game's actually looking pretty close. If the pilot can try and not get one shot by the KV-2 and try and catch a shell on the Su-130PM, I think we should be good. Wow, the Type 64 is trying to flank, but he's going to get caught out by an autoloader. The autoloader has 2 shots. Make it count. Oh no, that's not how you make your shots count. Oh, that's how you do it. One more. Whoa! Doesn't look like the Type 64 realized that that was an autoloader. And the T-25 pilot's coming around the corner. He's going to put one shot into the lower plate of the KV-2. He actually high rolls to a point where if he high rolls again, he's going to be able to shut him down in a single shot. But his low armor doesn't mean that he's going to be able to take a shot from the KV-2. His second roll is still high, but not quite high enough to be able to shut down the tier 6 Soviet heavy tank that could deal half of his hit points or 2/3 of his hit points with a single shot. Now comes around the corner, tries to find the SU, unable to be able to find the shot. Jagdpanther going in against the Soviet tank destroyer, playing a game of very dangerous kissy chase. Pushes him out in front of the M4A1 FL10, who now has the CS44 locked down. The Jagdpanther tanks a high explosive anti-tank shell from the CS44, and the M4A1 FL10 is now trying to be able to catch up. Will they be able to find the tier 7 Polish medium tank? Will they not? Now the enemy only have 2 minutes left to either cap or vanquish the remaining tanks. And luckily for me, Spy Santorsky, even though I would argue they probably could have helped with that IS-6 and secure the flank a little bit more, looks like they did what they needed to do. They had their hit points, they played aggressively, they locked down our cap circle, and they get a top gun. So congratulations to them. I still feel like I played an okay role. I really liked the VK3601, the original tier 6 that I played all those years back for the very first time in World of Tanks, is still a great performer. And I actually managed to get more experience than the Top Gun hero there at the end of the battle. Because obviously when you're shooting tanks that are higher tier than you get an experience bonus. And that happened quite a lot. Also looks like I managed to hit a few of my blind shells. And we nearly got 4,000 combined there for that tank. Very close to an ace tanker. If I hadn't died, it would have been. And that shows you how hard it is to get an ace tanker in this vehicle. 1,326 is a great game for a tier 6 tank. And for it to not be an ace on this strongly suggests to me of just how strong it is. Whoa. How many field mods did we just get in a single game of World of Tanks? The answer is nearly most of them. All right, what kind of field mods am I going to take? Well, I'm going to take all-terrain suspension because it's very important to be able to have better ground resistances on a heavy tank like this. Next, it's going to be a case of, are we going to go for the aiming time or are we going to go for the firepower? I think we're always going to go for accuracy. Accuracy is just awesome in World of Tanks. Although a vehicle like this when it's already got really good accuracy to begin with, there is kind of an argument to be able to improve the aim time, at least sometimes, but I still feel like accuracy is just better overall. Nevertheless, a fun final game to finish on today when we've been playing all of the best tier 6 tanks in the game. Some results were good, some results were poor. It was nice to see that there was a mixed match of tanks in this lineup, but one thing's for certain: good armor, reasonable mobility, and firepower seem to be keys. Who would have thought it in World of Tanks? And honestly, this VK3601, if you do set the vehicle up like that, I'll probably say that it's just one of the best tier 6, even if we were to take into account premium tanks as well. I have no idea why this vehicle gets 1,200 hit points. Why, when I play my OI, where it weighs 150 tons, this one only gets 1,000. And those hit points, they did prove very useful in that round. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for today. Really hope you enjoyed this video, especially considering I was playing tech tree tanks, sometimes not with the best crews, and hopefully the fact that I played tech tree tanks was appealing to you because they're vehicles that you can go and get yourself. If you liked that and you loved this video, then make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, however, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments, what would you like to see next on my live YouTube series of what you'd like to see me play. Would you like to see me play my favorite XXX tanks? Would you like to see me play my most hated tanks, tanks at a certain tier, premium tanks, regular tanks? What do you want to see? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.